Once upon a time, in a land very, very, very far away from here, in a small village, a messenger of God was delivered to the earth in order to pass on a gift from the one who created us so that we might thrive and enjoy our life here and also keep from being destroyed because of our wrongful ways of behaving that we had taken up and our misunderstandings about what life was about. And so as the years passed, he grew up, he had many visions, and he was instructed by his parents. And in 1932, he was ascended to God and was able to receive a special gift for mankind. And he was given, and so then he returned to the earth and he started passing the gift out simply by receiving the gift himself in the presence of someone else who wanted the gift as well. And so it was transmitted person to person. And in time, as he developed, he was told that there would be world wars and that he would travel around the earth, which he eventually did, and that he would pass out the gifts to all of those people who wished to have it, who were eager to have it. And then God sent people to get the gift. Gave them visions, brought about situations where they would find it because it wasn't advertised. It was just a word of mouth thing, and it's a big world, billions of people here. So one day, I received that gift, and I'm here to tell you what it is, so that if you want it, if you need it, you can also have it. Man likes to think, and as much as he likes to think, or thinks he likes to think, his own thinking likes to take over and think itself in him, because he's lost. He's a lost person. He doesn't know what's what and who's who. And so he can be 1 minute in his own nature, and the next minute his mind is taken over, and now his mind is his nature. His mind is who he is. And so the gift was expressly given to man in response to something else his creator was doing, which was expanding the mind of man so that he could be very bright and more intelligent, and he could develop things that require a lot of brightness and intelligence, outer intelligence. But the Creator understood perfectly well that he would then that mankind would then get distracted by this gift and start getting also involved in it, it would get even more possessed by its own mind. Now, the mind of man is given to him in order to facilitate his operations on the earth. It's necessary at times so that he can figure out, calculate, measure, determine, discover the qualities about the earth that and then know how to use certain things here, minerals, vegetables, to make things. But originally, the mind was a tool which was controlled by the soul. The soul is the content of man while he is on the earth. But when man stepped away from the Almighty in his eagerness to, or his wanting to try and do things himself and not, instead of being in a state of submission to the one who created him, he soon got himself into a huge mess. And one of the results of that mess is that his mind started getting the upper hand in his system and started to take over. His mind would tell him that he was, that his mind was the superior instrument, and that he should always listen to his mind, and things like that. So God arranged for man to have a gift given specifically at this time because of the expansion of the mind to balance the effects that the mind is having on the lost beings that generally inhabit the planet. So his messenger grew up, had a family, and God arranged that people would come from far away and then go back to their places and talk to other people about what they had, about this gift that they themselves had received. Because Subi was passing, his name was Subi, was passing it out. Subi Sumohariwe Joyo was the name of the messenger. And so and that happened. So as a result of that happening, people going back to their own countries, in 1957, Subi was invited to come to England. And he went to England, And there he opened, as he transmitted this gift to many people. And there are many stories about this. But it wasn't much reported in the news because this was not the way of it. It was not to be something that was going to be controlled or manipulated by newspapers. It was to be something that people talked about amongst themselves, and if they had friends that wanted it or saw something or felt something, if they were pulled, guided by their Creator to go and get it, why they would. So because of this prior arrangement of the Almighty, many, many people wanted this gift. Word spread pretty rapidly, the thing was set up, and the first thing you know, in over 70 countries around the world, there were groups of people who had received this gift. The nature of the way the gift operates is that it's a going back. It's a going back to the condition of man before he decided that he could figure things out. And he didn't need his Creator, or he didn't think he needed him very much, or whatever he thought. He could figure things out for himself. Well, you can see the horrible results of this thought, but, man has learned by making a lot of mistakes. Some of them are just horrendous. You have no idea just how horrendous they are and the ramifications they've had. The Almighty has tolerated this, has been patient with this, because He knows more about His creation and what He created and what would happen to it and where it would go than we do. So, the nature of the gift is that man will now go back to his original position. He will do it willingly. He says, okay, I'll do that. He will turn around instead of saying, okay, I'm going to do everything on my own. I'm going to figure things out for myself. He changes his attitude and he says, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go back to paying attention to God and allowing God to guide me, to clean me up, fix me up, and guide me so that I can return to my original place of being a noble creature, excellent creature that the Almighty created, and it can again fulfill all those purposes that the Creator arranged for him and provided for him so that he could do these wonderful things. So when Subi would stand there in front of a person who wished to receive the gift, or in the room where the person was, they would have been instructed, either by him or by somebody else earlier, that all they needed to do was just basically give it up, just let go, just relax, close their eyes so they wouldn't be distracted by other people, and then freely follow whatever happened within themselves, because this gift was operating by God, through God, so it was coming from within them. And then Subi himself would also receive the gift so that he became a channel. In other words, when he submitted at that moment to God, then God made him into a channel so that the gift could be moved from the one willing recipient to the new willing recipient, and that it would begin to dwell there and begin to operate or to clean up or to, is basically the power of God. Clean up one of God's creation. And of course, since God created it, he knew exactly what it needed, what was the first thing that needed to happen, and what was the second thing, and so on. And as the person was willingly submitting, there was no obstructing, there was no holding back. So it left free. It left God free to work on that person. So this process would go on for about half an hour, and people would experience different things. Why did they experience different things? Because each one was in a different condition, had different ancestors, had different amounts of mess to clean up. Had different attitudes, had different all kinds of things. So God knew each one of them perfectly well. So in accordance with what they needed, he would give it to them as they needed it. And so, in that way, many people were opened, and indeed they did find that it was something that they were so far away from. They liked it, but they didn't understand, they didn't know what was going on, but they felt better, they felt good about it, they felt it was right. And they proceeded to do this worship, turning back to God twice a week for half an hour. And then when the worship was over, they would go back to their regular life, cook their meals, interact with their families, go to their work, and when the work was carried out solely and only by the one who created them. He was the only one who could do it. So that's what is, and so the gift was organized, and so because people wanted to organize it and have groups of people and stuff all over the world, so they did, and they ended up calling it Subud. Subud is just another name for something. They could have called it the gift of God, they could have called it the new old way, or the new way, or they could have called it whatever, but they ended up calling it Subud. Subud is just a kind of Sanskrit, it's a Sanskrit abbreviation and an acronym for Sushila Buddhi and Dharma, which stands for the noble true way of the human nature and the real way of man, and Buddhi, which stands for the inner of man, dwells within him, which is namely the power of God, and dwells within him. And then Dharma, which is patience, submission, and sincerity. And so it kind of, talks about it. It addresses what the gift is about, or what the gift is doing. And it's still available. It is available through me. It's available through other places as well. There's an organization, if you care to go there. You can look it up online, SUBUD. If you want to see something more about it, you can go to subuh.com, and you can watch a very nicely presented picture story. It has some nice Indonesian music in the background, and you can get some notion of how the people look and who they are, and you can see pictures there which were made by a very talented photographer. Very nice pictures. It's an easy thing to watch of the messenger of God. God commanded him not to make claims. He explained that he was Subi, that is, just an ordinary human being. And but then again, anyway, okay, so that's all I'm going to say. That's what Subud is. It's the current gift that God has given to man in order that he may return to his noble origins and not be destroyed by the one who created him. The last generation of man was destroyed utterly by the One Almighty because of a similar problem that develops when man uses the expansion, when God gives him this expansive mind that he's supposed to use for good, to develop his science and his technology and everything else. In the last generation of man, they used the technology, but they were using it in ways they weren't supposed to be using it. They couldn't tell the difference. They didn't know. So they actually turned out to be started doing things to themselves that was just not acceptable. So they were utterly destroyed, and there is no record of that generation, except in there's records of everything on the other side, in the other dimensions. And it's the highest level of those records, the only ones that have access to it are other messengers of God, or a few other higher beings who are allowed to look at that. And so the warning to you all is that, if mankind doesn't turn back to one humanity, we are one humanity, we are all part of one soul, one being. If it doesn't turn back to the one who created it, so that the one who created it can restore it to its original purpose. An amount of work which is unfathomable to man. You cannot compass it. You cannot fathom how much work is involved. But the Almighty, in His mercy, in His wisdom, in His understanding, is able to do that, and is willing to do it, and is doing it. But if man will not turn, will persist in his ways, then there is a strong possibility, because there's a strong possibility that the Almighty will bring to an end the whole human, or the creation, the thing here on the generations of man on the earth, and there will not be another one, because maybe He'll do something else, or He'll do, we don't know what God will do. And that's the way it is. So it's a choice that you can make. You can take up something that's very pleasant, very easy. God made it so it's not difficult at all to receive this gift. And you'll like it, because it's taking you back to the thing that you were originally, this is what you were made for. This is who you really are. And you'll enjoy it and you'll be happy with it. But it's a choice that you have to make. You have to choose, okay, I will not just try to do things on my own by myself. I will allow God to guide me. God doesn't guide man through his mind particularly. Your mind is just a tool that you have. It doesn't guide you through your tools. It guides you through your being. And so when you're guided through your being, it's all seamless. You feel like you want to do something, and the gate is open, and you find yourself doing it, and you like it. But actually, but you're in a state of submission. You're not going to yourself and saying, well, I know I feel like I want to do that, but I'm going to do something else because I'd rather do that. No, you're not going to do that. So, brothers and sisters, it's up to you. Whether you come back to God or you destroy yourselves and you're wanting to do things yourself, which is, okay up to a point, but it's gone beyond that point, and that's the difficulty. And so it needs to be put right. If you want to receive this gift and start turning back to God, or you don't need to do anything. All you need to do is to sincerely say, okay, I'll turn back to God. And what is it God wants you to do? And then God will, that's what the worship is. You just close your eyes, you wait, you let the power of God freely move within you. Something which, by the way, most of you have never felt in your entire life directly. You've not been aware of it. Because in fact, well, so there it is. If you're interested in the gift, you can go to the organization called Subud, as I mentioned before, or you can contact me. There are other people on the earth like myself who have received this gift and who can pass it on. We just pass it on by doing our own worship, and then God passes it on to those who want it through our being. You can contact me at lambertlorette@gmail.com, and I will respond to your email, and then we can arrange for you to receive this gift from God that is available to mankind at the present time. So that's it. God bless. Go with God. Give yourselves up to God and return and repent of your way of wanting to just do things yourself without considering or without concerning yourself with whether it fits into the big picture of everything that God has created or not. Think about it, okay? Look at it. Consider it. It's important. And how you decide about it, when you pass over, there will be a review and you'll see. And if you decide the wrong way, if you decide, then you'll be very, 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 very sorry you did. I don't expect you to believe that, but I'm just telling you what will happen.